Tonight on Denver7 News at 6.
At one point, you have to sort of figure out where the vicious cycle ends.
The most hated man in Denver sports walks.
They finally made the right decision.
Colorado gains a seat in Congress. Now, where to put it?
We don't know who lives where, anything like that at this point.
Democrats scrap a state-run healthcare plan but promise to deliver lower premiums all the same.
Plus, the tax man comes for federal retirees.
I was forced to take a loan that I did not apply for, and I have to pay it off in a short period of time.
And Colorado's connection to one of the best movies of the year.
I've always had this dream of wanting to come back to Colorado.
2 months ago, Rockies owner Dick Monfort told the media he hadn't thought about firing his general manager.
Well, maybe the team's National League worst record got him thinking, or maybe Jeff Bridich just saw the writing on the wall. Either way, Bridich is out after 7 years as GM.
He will be remembered for 2 consecutive playoff runs, for squandering a talented group of hitters, and for running Nolan Arenado out of town.
Denver7's Lionel Bienvenu leads us off tonight. Lionel, for a lot of fans, I think this is too little too late.
Yeah, guys, a year and a Nolan Arenado, too late. Jeff Bridich is going out as one of the most vilified sports executives this town has ever seen. You mentioned the back-to-back postseason appearances and then free agent mistakes, letting DJ LeMahieu, David Dahl, and Nolan get out of town. So now it was time for Bridich to make his exit out of town as well. Officially, the Rockies said it was a mutual agreement, time for new direction and leadership. Bridich said the same in his statement. You can read all that right now on the denverchannel.com. Dick Monfort's statement saying he's saddened, but they must move on. But really, this was a lose-lose situation. The team's in last place. Bridich gets the blame for running Nolan off, and surely the same coming for Trevor Story and John Gray. So there was nowhere to go but down. Here's Rockies manager Bud Black late this afternoon from San Fran saying the show will go on.
We will continue to do what we do. Obviously there's a separation between the front office and the field. Keep plowing ahead and get after it. But again, I think on the day-to-day basis, what we do in the clubhouse, on the field, as coaches and players, we'll continue on.
As we said, fans blame Bridich, no doubt about that, for this mess. Here's Nick Rothschild at Coors Field today.
When the Bridich news detonated on social media, I thought for sure Rockies fans would be fired up, partying in the streets. I overestimated that reaction, although it was a Monday afternoon. The fans I did talk to said Bridich's exit felt like it was a long time coming. And while some remain loyal, others are following the money.
Even though I may not have agreed with the Arenado thing, it didn't stop me from supporting the team just because Trevor Story, Blackman, all those guys, still going to go support them. They're still players I really appreciate, and still always going to be a lifelong Rockies fan no matter what.
When you got the money and you're signing the checks, people can yell at you all you want. So it's more about the ownership, how much flack they want to take. But what general manager is then going to tell the owner that they're not going to do it, whatever the owner wants to do? Because as Grandma said, for money you get honey.
Jeff Bridich was exceedingly good at protecting Dick Monfort's money. The question now is, do we get a baseball guy in next or another money man? Only time will tell. I'm Nick Rothschild for Denver7 Sports.
All right, Nick, so Monfort's plan for now is elevate Greg Fiesel to team president and hire an interim GM as soon as possible for the rest of the season. That's it! We'll get some good and juicy analysis and insight from Troy Rank later in sports.
All right, we'll see you later. Thank you, Lionel. Census results are in, and Colorado's population has grown enough to gain a seat in Congress.
A newly formed commission has until the end of the year to redraw the districts and help decide the balance of power in Washington. Denver7's Megan Lopez has more.
Let's get to the results you've all been waiting for.
It was the most unexcitable yet exciting announcement Colorado has seen in 20 years. The U.S. Census Department announced after months of delays, lawsuits, and a pandemic, it's ready to release some big-picture population data.
According to the 2020 census, the number of people living in the United States was 331,449,281.
Given all the development we've seen, it's no surprise Colorado saw some of the biggest growth.
An increase of about 744,000 from our last count in 2010.
For a total of about 5.78 million people calling our state home. which led to this announcement.
Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon will each gain 1 seat.
The last time Colorado received an additional seat was after the 2000 census.
The state has been anticipating this news for a while, but it's still a big deal.
The allocation of a new seat to the state of Colorado is potentially very important and could produce some meaningful benefits to the state, either economically or in terms of policy. We may see more competitive general elections in the state.
While the census announcement did offer some big picture data, there's still a lot we don't know.
We don't know who lives where, anything like that at this point.
18 and over population, race and ethnicity, total housing units.
And because the districts need to have roughly equal populations, the delay in data is making it difficult for independent redistricting commissions to even draw a preliminary map.
We can kind of guess based on some estimates that have come out, but at this point we don't know. We can't actually redraw the districts until we get that real data.
So while we finally officially know that we're getting a new congressional district, the real question is where. Megan Lopez, Denver7.
Colorado Democrats might succeed in passing a new health care plan, but it won't be the public option they originally pitched.
Unable to overcome mounting pressure from hospitals and insurance providers, lawmakers abandoned their pursuit of a state-run system and will instead require carriers to offer a standardized plan in every county in Colorado. The goal is to reduce premiums by 18% over 3 years. Debate begins tomorrow.
A bill that eliminates automatic life sentences for people convicted of felony murder was signed into law by the governor today. Now, before, anyone who was at the crime scene would be put away for good, and now those who were present but not directly responsible for someone's death will spend between 16 and 48 years in prison.
We're trying to reduce the mass over-incarceration that we have in Colorado. We incarcerate more people in Colorado than any other country in the world per capita. We've addicted ourselves to incarceration.
This law does not apply to previous convictions.
Video released today shows Loveland police discussing dislocating the shoulder of a 73-year-old woman last June. The chief of police told us previously no serious injuries were reported.
I had a big scar on the first out there, and I was like, okay, you wanna play? I was pushing here. I was like, oh no. That's what attention in.
Loveland police declined to comment today. The primary arresting officer has been placed on leave. Others are on desk duty.
Letitia Stauch has lost her law library privileges for 3 months. That's not something you can afford to go without when you are representing yourself on murder charges. And then again, maybe Stauch feels like she doesn't need to do any more homework. She apparently lost her privileges for failing to show up during her scheduled time. Stauch is charged with first-degree murder in the killing of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch, her stepson.
The Trump administration forced federal employees to defer their payroll taxes last year. Well, now those taxes are due. Not everybody has the means to pay. Here's Jacqueline Allen.
This is a demand notice for payment.
No one likes getting bills in the mail.
$955.44.
But when 70-year-old Viola Nathan got this particular bill,
I really did freak out.
She couldn't believe what it was for. Last summer, then President Trump signed an executive order that was supposed to provide pandemic relief by deferring payroll taxes.
We're going to save American jobs and provide relief to the American workers.
Many businesses opted out of the confusing program, but federal employees could not. Now, this year, their deferred taxes are coming due.
We tried to alert that this was going to happen, okay? But people didn't understand it, right?
Federal employee unions call Trump's order a scam meant to undermine Social Security, now hitting federal workers hard. Most will see the money taken out of their paychecks this year.
This is my letter to HR.
But Viola retired last December after 37 years as a federal employee in Colorado. She got a bill last week for the deferred payroll taxes, due May 2nd.
I was forced to take a loan that I did not apply for, and I have to pay it off in a short period of time.
I don't think my mom's the only person in this boat.
Her daughter wants to warn other federal workers if they leave a job before the deferred taxes are paid, they'll also get a bill, one she's now helping her mom pay.
That's the least I could do. She's helped so much, so it's a no-brainer to help her out. But like I said, there's just other people I know for sure that maybe don't have it, that help.
For Contact Denver7, I'm Jacqueline Allen.
Denver Public Schools expects to hire a person of color as its next superintendent. The district says 67% of the semifinalists are Latino. The other 33% are black. All have leadership experience, and a finalist will be announced in early May.
Colorado's trails were overused, under-maintained, and often on fire in 2020. Denver7's Patrick Perez explains what it will take to restore them to their natural splendor.
There's been no better way to take a break from the pandemic, a break from the isolation of COVID, than getting out and enjoying Colorado's outdoor beauty. Peter Ammons finds himself on the trails at least 3 times a week.
You don't know where things are going to go with the pandemic. It was a great way for me to have some consistency.
Like Peter, so many sought the relaxing powers of nature when we were cooped up at home.
Being outside is a great way for me to just reset.
But nature can only give so much before it needs its own break.
What the 4th of July used to look like and Memorial Day used to look like when everybody went out for the weekend outside, that was every day, every weekend, and almost every day during the pandemic.
And Baker Easley is the CEO of Volunteers for Outdoor Colorado, or VOC for short. The group's ongoing goal is to help keep our parks and trails in good shape. But it's been hard keeping up with trail overuse. Add to that our record-breaking wildfire season, and you've created a clear path to ruin.
Pre-pandemic, we were averaging about 5,000 volunteers a year. Last year, we only could really engage about 800 because of the pandemic. Let's go this way.
One of the biggest problems they'll tackle this year is erosion from the fires and people.
Because of the pandemic and people trying to keep a distance from each other, a lot of the trails have gone from this to this. You can see all of these footprints you normally wouldn't see.
There maybe has been a bit of an uptick in some of the erosion I've seen on some of the trails, but the key there is just having people volunteering and getting out there helping maintain them.
And that's what VOC is gearing up to do. The group already has about 80 projects lined up this year. Just this weekend, they were at the Shambhala Mountain Center, a victim of the Cameron Peak fire.
We know this year already we have wait lists on our project. So we know that people care about this and want to get involved.
As Ann puts it, there's no vaccine for our public lands. It's up to us to be responsible and take care of them. Patrick Perez, Denver7.
여기 대체 어디야?
GBG? From memory to Oscar-winning movie, Colorado's connection to Menard after the break.
I cried through the movie as well the first time I saw it.
We had a windy, warm day today, but this cold front means a Denver 7 weather action day for tomorrow. Snow and thunder coming our way.